Hello, everyone. Welcome to our today's episode of InvoTalks, and I'm your host, Rimmel. At InvoZone, we specialize in agile MVP development. We focus on key features, develop, test, and deliver quickly so that product owners can gather real-time user feedback and pitch it to their investors. Today, we are super excited to share a success story from our partner, Cryptool, that embodies this approach. We'll dive how Cryptool is set to revolutionize the way both beginner and expert DeFi investors manage their portfolios, raise and distribute funds, and connect in a vibrant marketplace. Welcome our today's guest, Ron Zabel. Hello, Ron. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great, and thank you so much for joining us for today's session and taking time out to speak about your product. We're super excited about the launch. Because we believe that it's going to be another success story that we are going to have as InvoZone, as your development partner. So Ron, let's get started with, how about you tell us about your background and how you got into blockchain and crypto space?
Of course. I've over 15 years experience as a project and business manager with a degree in mechanical engineering. I started my career as a technical project manager, where I managed large projects in the billion-dollar projects in a variety of branches, most of them oil and gas, offshore, but also energy, wind energy, and pharma industries for a variety of clients on project base. So they would hire me for specific projects. This resulted in different opportunities along the line. 8 years ago, I was hired to establish an engineering and production company. Started from the ground up, according to specs and requirements from several stakeholders. I was accountable and responsible for everything in the business. So from beginning to end, the main goal was here to increase the profits and the revenue to a certain point, a certain milestone, which I had 3 years to do so. And then that worked out great. I learned so much during that process, especially as from a business owner side or the creation side to all the details that it takes to start up a business. During this period, I also started investing. So I invested in different things. Real estate, started with that, stocks, but most important also cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, different things. I started as a trader on a centralized exchange, and I moved to mining. Even I did mining, crypto mine, Ethereum mine for 3 years, and sort of end up going into launch pads. So initial coin offerings or DEX offerings, they call it. That means that you invest in early stages, and this was for me the way to go as an investor, and this opened up a new era of opportunities. In the end, this actually was the reason why we started Green Access Partners VC Venture Capital, because it opened up even earlier stage investments as a VC that you don't have access to as a standard individual investor. So it's very important process how I got there. It's very, very interesting. So it took years to get to the VC side, but once we opened up the VC, you enter a whole other level of investing in crypto. I mean, very little people or investors in crypto blockchain have experienced and seen the side of investment. So it's very early, very interesting. But that's basically how we got into blockchain and blockchain investments. 3 years ago, we actually expanded the venture capital with a community side. So the original VC was set up with several partners, fixed partners. Everybody had their own share, and this grew into a community side to even reach larger ticket sizes, again into bigger projects, into with more requirements also for marketing side and those kind of things. So we grew that into a community side, which is the main reason why we started Cryptool, because it just takes a lot of additional efforts and time, and it creates so much struggles when managing the VC community side of such a VC. So that was the main reason how we got into Cryptool and how we got into blockchain in general. So over the years, as an owner and the CEO of the capital firm, I got to understand how projects in crypto, how they can be successful, how they operate, and where to look for in great opportunities and in successful projects in general. And with my background, of course, as a business manager and as a company starter in the past, we look at profitable projects. We look at sustainable, healthy financial models that have a very high chance of success in the crypto market. Now, unfortunately, crypto is very different than most investments, because the financial aspect of this is often overlooked, unfortunately. But overall, I think we're the whole process, how we got here, has been great. It's been going quite fast because it's already been 8 years. But here we are, and ready for the next step of Cryptool.
Amazing about it is, like you mentioned, you have a prior experience in project management and technical project management. I think this is the reason why you were able to have a very defined product, workflow, even before you started with the development. So I think that turned out very well for you.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, when you're doing very large projects, it's very important that the business plan is right before you start. So the financial aspects, the profitability, sustainability of a project or company in this case, is very important. If you don't have that right from the start, you will face problems and a lot of issues down the road. So it's very important that those things are right when you start. And you will learn this, of course, over the years when you're doing your own companies or when you're doing your own projects like we are doing right now. But it's good to have that experience beforehand. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even I can talk about it for hours. Like at InfoZone, we believe that we should not write a single line of code unless we have a very well-defined product development roadmap. And Ron, what I really find intriguing is how you came up with the idea of developing this tool. Being a venture capitalist yourself, investing in crypto, you identified a challenge, you identified an issue, and you came up with a solution called Cryptool today. So walk us through that. What were the challenges that you were trying to address? What was that moment that you were like, okay, fine, this is it. This tool needs to be there.
Okay, so there's a couple of these moments that we had over the years, and let's go back a little bit because we need to be very clear that Cryptool basically focuses on two different markets. It's the individual investor, and it's the VC side. And the VC side, more of the community VCs that are out there. So focus on the individual side. We were very large investing in IDOs, or initial coin offerings or DEX offerings, they call it. Which means that you invest in one of the later pre-sales in public mostly. For people that don't know, that means that you invest very short before a token is released. But this becomes promised when you do a couple of these a day or a week, because there's different vesting schedules and there's different dates, and you're not too sure when things are happening. Myself, I was over on 30 launchpads myself, so every day there were several events related to buy-ins, to claiming events, to selling points, etc. When you need to keep track of this yourself, you will miss things. So you miss either a buy-in event, you miss a claiming event, or a selling point, because it's so hard to keep track of. So that's from the personal investment side, and that's only talking about IDOs. If you're investing even earlier, it's even more difficult to keep track of, because by the time the token is live, or by the time you get your tokens, you're way down the road. It could be years. So you need to stay on top of these projects and investments continuously. When you invest in multiple ones, it gets chaotic. So we said already years back, we need to automate this. We need to work together, and we created some tools back then that we worked together with several of these investors to automate this process. But it wasn't good enough. So we said, from an investor perspective, we need a tool. Now came around the VC side that we have, and we used to have our own partner group, which was, shares wise, it was easy to manage. But you had the same issues with the dates and events related to your investments. But then came community, because we grew that community pretty quick. Then all of a sudden you have hundreds of investors that have their own distribution wallets, and which they change apparently weekly, and you need to keep track of all that. So you need to know how much you distribute to each person. There's a lot of communication, a lot of administration job, a lot of spreadsheets to keep track of. And there is tools out there, but they don't cover everything that we needed. So we really said, okay, from both perspectives, let's create a tool to, after the last bull market, when we were doing 60 hours a week just to do the administration tasks from our personal level, so we need a tool. So we set up with a few founders basically of the company and advisors. Some of them are still in as advisors because, everything we do, we need to run by everybody, make sure that, it's complete. So we created the tool. And again, just go back to your previous comment. We spent the first 6 months making sure it's profitable. We made a business plan. We made a business calculation. It's the biggest one I've ever seen to make sure this project is profitable and this project, is sustainable for long term.
So can you walk us through the key features of Cryptool, like how they cater to both beginner and expert DeFi investors?
So there's a lot of modules on the platform. So it's really modular setup. They work together, and each module users will most likely use several of these modules, and not all. If not, the main modules are the portfolio management module, so asset management, very focused on the pre-sale and invested and unvested tokens, which is basically does not exist yet on the market. We have also staking management, so you can manage all your staked assets. That's the portfolio management. Mm-hmm. Again, I mentioned earlier, it's linked to every module, because if you use any of the other modules as an investment or as a trade, it will automatically update your portfolio as well, meaning that it's automated, very little work. Technically, you could invest in one of these modules in seconds, and keep track on your phone with your investment status. Now, going to the next one, there's a raise module. The raise module is the main one. Okay, so where VCs can manage their VCs, their members, their distributions, their raises, their funding aspects. Everything related to the VC side is done in the raise module as a group or funding. Projects can do funding pools here as well. So these key features are really the funding process and the management process of project funding or VC funding. Mm-hmm. There's a market where we allow OTC trades, so on-platform OTC trades. And we have the future that we have brokers, licensed brokers, where you can allow off-platform trades, complete safe trades, you name it. So it allows the seller or buyer to reach out to a broker to go to a wider audience and possibly get better deals or have more reach of a market of clients or users. Mm-hmm. So that's very different than what we've seen, but I think we'll talk about that later, how we're different. But those are the main modules. Then we have an invest module, and that's coming in 2025, where you can co-invest in assets, or you can co-invest in launchpad pools. Mm-hmm. And it's all managed through a manager or a hedge fund manager in some cases. That's an invest module. I'm not going too much detail on that because that's 2025, and it's on the roadmap, but we'll see once we get there. And a very important one is, and again, like I said before, there's way more modules than I'm mentioning, the calendar module. So the calendar modules basically work on notifications related to everything you have in your portfolio, the VCs you're in, you get, even the launch pads that you follow, every event. If there's a buying event, a pool opening, a claiming event, or a distribution event, you will get it in your calendar. You can sync that to your personal calendar. So at the beginning of the week, instead of doing your own homework, we've done it for you. Wow. So investors basically, have it very easy. You go from full-time job to less than hours a week with these tools. And there's obviously more. I'm mentioning the main ones. But overall, we're going for automation. So we automate as much as possible. Make it very easy, one-click solutions for most of the issues that people have doing the conventional way, and those are the key features that we go for.
And Ron, I strongly believe that all the automation features actually make your platform very unique as compared to any other tool available in the market at the moment. So how did you come up with the idea of automations?
It was more a necessity. I mean, we checked out competitors, and let me be very straightforward. there are competitors out there, but not on the package that we provide, not on the services that we provide, and not on the different modules coming together. On each of the modules, there's competitors, and they're not as automated as you like to be. There's still manual tasks, daily manual tasks, you know, and if you are involved as we were as investors, as VCs, you don't want that. You know, you want to focus on project analysis and market and research and you know, investments, where to invest in instead of doing the administration tasks. So definitely the automation was just not sufficient in the software tools that we were looking into.
And previously we discussed how, you know, a vital role a strong community has played in success of Cryptool already. Given your prior experience as a venture capitalist, having a strong crypto community, so how do you plan to further cultivate a strong community of crypto investors and enthusiasts?
As you said, we do have a community already, and there's different communities that we're in, from pre-sale to VC sides, community VCs. So it's really easy to tap into that and to engage. They're facing the same issues. So it's really easy to get those users on board. Our main task is with client onboarding and getting users on board is targeting the larger community VCs. Because, you know, if you onboard a VC, you know, you get 4,000 users in some cases directly. So that's easy growth, easy way of pulling in users that, you know, require the tool. Besides that, we also target Launchpad users. As I mentioned earlier, for Launchpad users, it's a very useful tool, especially portfolio managed aspect. So we partner with Launchpads. So we're actually partnering with them. You know, they see the use case for it as well. In the future, we will automate more process between us and Launchpads, like automated portfolio updates as well. If you invest on a tool like that, automated event updates, everything is going to be automated as automated as possible. But this way, you use basically existing communities and existing networks, you know, to basically market for you and provide the users for you. Besides that, we have a referral program, which is quite good, and it's different than you've seen in the crypto space because we generate actual revenue on the platform, and it's a great business model. If you know, we can actually share a very decent amount of that revenue through referral programs, meaning that you know, influencers or KOLs or Launchpads or VCs, you name it, you know, they see great potential in onboarding these users themselves because, you know, for them it's a very decent income. So these together, it's a quick, easy way to onboard users that, you know, face the same issues that we did.
Perfect. So what steps are you taking to ensure the platform remains secure and reliable for users?
Now, going a little technical. Now, my background is not software or development engineering, but there's main topics that we have that, you know, account for the security of the platform and for the users. So there's several account securities for users they can engage in, from, you know, two-factor authenticator. We have account activity tracking, and you get notifications if something is out of your, you know, is does not belong. And in essence, is that when you can lock your account if things are wrong, you can kick out other computers or logged in sessions, etc. But in most important is that every transaction still goes through, you know, the traditional blockchain aspect. So the security aspect is still on the blockchain side for users when they engage in investments. When they engage in distributions, we only manage basically the data in the background and provide them the tools to be able to do those transactions. So on the security side of the data, and here it becomes technical, and there's a lot of terms that, you know, we have a very extensive version of this on the white paper. I highly recommend reading it. That goes in a lot more detail and much more clear. I can explain it, but we have firewall systems where, you know, only certain people with access can, you know, go into certain areas of the database. There's data leak preventions. There's an analysis tools that identify vulnerabilities on the platform. Besides all this, what we also do is we have a few external companies that continuously find weak spots. Okay, so we have not. We were actually start that in 2 weeks. That process, as then we go live with the main modules. So these are the main security aspects that we can apply. And of course, this is continuous. We have to continue to be on top of this, as that's the most important factor. If any of the security fails, I think the company is in big trouble. So it's a very important aspect.
Perfect. And how do you envision the growth of crypto and DeFi market in the next few years? And I do understand, like, even right now, you guys are the most competitive tool in the market and very different from the ones that already exist. How do you plan to maintain that and stay ahead of the curve?
Okay, so maybe two questions. These are two questions. So
Yeah.
I envision the market in the DeFi, of course, and it's growing. Okay, we did a market analysis, a lot of research papers on this, and again in the white paper it goes in detail. We expect that market to go sky high. So currently there's about 7 million DeFi investors, and we expect that to be over 300 million by 2030. So that's a big growth number. Okay. Now that's the market we tap into as the platform that we have. So there's great potential here. Now the second question is how we, try to be on top and try to, get all these users on board. There's different ways. So the platform itself, we continue to grow it. We continue to adapt because it's all modular, and because we have a very good engagement with communities and users. We listen and we implement what's needed in the market. Because the crypto market keeps expanding and growing and having more needs. Absolutely. We follow, and we have to keep doing that. Otherwise, you fall behind. Keep track of your competitors as well. They're growing too. So we need to keep a good eye on them and make sure that we're ahead of them, which we are now. But you never know. So those are very important factors in making sure that you stay ahead. Besides all that, again, like I mentioned before, our financial model is very secure. Okay, so if the prognosis, which is very conservative, plays out, we're going to be here for a long time. And that being said, is that we also have a token which we will launch end of the year. That token strategy is completely different than anything you've seen in crypto. And the most important thing to mention here is that most crypto projects have very high emissions. They sell tokens, they have rewards that users sell. So the emissions are huge. Investors sell. Our investors are really basically users of the platform. So if they keep the token, they have discounts on the platform. They have additional benefits. In addition, they also benefit from revenue sharing. So for users, it's to invest. It's a very good way for investors to keep the tokens, which is different than, of course, you usually see, because there's actually purpose to it and there's actually rewards for it. And the rewards are financed by buybacks from platform revenue. So we have, as a team platform, and our tokenomics 0 emissions, but we have buybacks that basically, only benefit the token price. So even in bear markets, because we did a lot of simulations, this would be still a positive. Of course, you never know, but we did all the modules, all the calculations. It's going to be a very positive token strategy, even in bear markets, because we have the ability to buy back and with revenue throughout also bear markets. And we calculate, of course, bear markets revenue is going to be less, but still we can make sure that token is going to be steady, which is another marketing aspect, of course, because if users see that this token is going to be in bear market, it's going to be strong and steady, people are going to hear about you and people are going to talk about you. So there's another strategy that where we looked into, and that I'm really looking forward to see how that plays out, because I'm very confident in that.
Perfect. And how can our listeners get more involved with Cryptool? Are there any beta testing opportunities or community events coming up? And
so basically, users can sign up on the platform. It's live with more modules coming, and they can register to the newsletter. In the newsletter, it's not only information, but it's also activities. You name it. It's being engaged with the team. and you get chances to be involved in more depth than just a user. So I highly recommend doing that. Stay on top and be the first one to know when things are happening. Yeah, definitely recommend.
Perfect. And once again, the fact that you already have a strong community of crypto enthusiasts and venture capitalists onboarded speaks volumes in the potential of the tool overall. And once again, as your development partners, we are super excited about the impact that Cryptool is going to have. Let's just briefly discuss your journey with InvoZone. So how did you hear about us?
We met on LinkedIn in InvoZone, and the reason is we have a couple development teams already. One for design, one for smart contracts, and we were looking for front end, back end development team. So InvoZone was one of the, I think, 8 development teams that we talked to. We engaged with, requested quotes, and InvoZone was definitely our best bet, and due to our lead engineering being very local to the development team, which we thought was very positive, as you know, they can stop by when needed much quicker than having somebody on the other side of the world. So that was the main factor of us going with InvoZone. Besides that, it's a great team. It's a large team. They're very active, and communication is going great. So yeah, it showed right from the bat that InvoZone was the best partner to go with for this development aspect, for sure.
Perfect. Absolutely. And as you mentioned, you were evaluating other vendors as well at that point. So what factors led you to choose InvoZone? Because you did mention that we are managing the larger chunk of your application. So what made you choose InvoZone?
So there's different factors where we look at, and usually we only do 3 codes, but because the development aspect is such a large thing in the scope of the project, we requested 8. So where we looked at different things. So the timeline planning, when we can expect modules. Now InvoZone has a large team, so they were able to put more hands on it, and reduce the lead times on the project. So that was a big one. And of course, and it's just going to be honest here, is InvoZone, just pricing wise, they're good. They're very good. They're very competitive. Versus the European, we're located in Europe, versus the European market. It's basically a no-brainer to go with InvoZone in this case, just to reduce cost and reduce lead times, for sure.
And one more thing that you mentioned, like you decided to take a modular approach for developing and launching your MVP. So instead of waiting for 1 whole year or 6 months to actually, wait for the development to complete, you took a modular approach, and as the modules were launching, you started onboarding users. So this is what we call as a very aggressive agile development lifecycle that you opted for. So how well was InvoZone able to support you in this phase?
Very well. And most importantly is I believe it's the best way to do it, to implement modular approach, mainly because you prevent too much. You prevent, if there's issues, that the capacity is fully related on problem solving, instead of making progress in general. If there's issues and there's too many modules live, it might be too much to handle. And in this case, they're handling fine. There's very minor issues because we go through a good process of quality checking, but there's always issues. So if you go with a larger approach when implementing everything at the same time, I think it will be difficult, even for InvoZone, even if they have the capacity to do so. But they're handling this perfectly. This is great. There's straight planning. There's a clear scope and priorities, and they're implementing everything according to schedule. So that's perfect.
Perfect, absolutely. And how do you foresee your future collaboration with InvoZone as your development partner?
Well, as we will be our roadmap goes into the end of 2025 with development aspects as well. I mentioned the invest modules. The invest module might be a separate platform. We're still debating, because it doesn't touch as much in relation with the other modules do. So there is a long-term partnership here, and a long-term development scope on the table that we can work on together for years.
Perfect. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your kind words. And once again, we are all rooting for Cryptool success, and we just can't wait to see it make an impact in the market.
Thank you very much.